quiet Texas border town, a ruthless cartel made one mistake too many. They tried to intimidate the wrong lemonade stand. What they didn't expect was that 8-year-old Charlotte Davis wasn't running that stand alone. Her German Shepherd, Apollo, wasn't just a loyal family dog. He was one of the most decorated K-9 veterans in Texas law enforcement history. This is the unbelievable true story of how a cartel's scare tactic backfired, how a retired police dog's protective instincts turned a summer afternoon into the beginning of a criminal empire's collapse. One child, one lemonade stand, one loyal dog. What followed would expose a massive drug operation, bring a small town together, and prove that sometimes the biggest justice starts in the smallest places. But before we dive in, tell us in the comments where you're watching from, and if this story hits you like it hit us, hit that subscribe button. Tomorrow, we've got something even more powerful coming. It was a scorcher in Pine Creek, Texas. The sun beat down on the sleepy suburban street as Charlotte Davis lined up plastic cups along her wooden lemonade stand. Her German Shepherd Apollo lay in the shade nearby, eyes scanning the street like a seasoned pro. "Do you think we'll sell it all today, Apollo?" she asked, adjusting the hand-drawn sign. Charlotte and Apollo's fresh lemonade, $1. Apollo's ears flicked at her voice, but his eyes never stopped watching the street. A black SUV rolled by for the third time that morning, windows tinted way too dark for a place where everyone knew everyone. Martha Stevens, their elderly neighbor, approached with a warm smile. "Morning, Charlotte." "Morning to you too, Apollo." "Hi, Mrs. Stevens. Want some lemonade? I made it extra fresh today." Apollo stayed relaxed, but his gaze stayed locked on the road as he clocked the vehicle's every move. Martha handed over $1, watching Charlotte carefully make change. "Your dad must be proud of your little business." "He says I'm learning responsibility. That's why Apollo gets to stay out here with me." Apollo's attention never wavered. Another car cruised by, a green pickup with muddy plates. Then Frank Cooper from the hardware store appeared, wiping sweat off his brow. "Morning, Charlotte." "Morning, Martha." "And good morning to you, Officer Apollo." Apollo wagged his tail once, acknowledging the familiar voice, but his gaze shifted again. Another unfamiliar car, this one a silver sedan with dark windows. "You been seeing all these new faces around lately?" Frank asked, handing over $1. "Too many," Martha said quietly, "not the usual type either." As Charlotte poured lemonade, the black SUV passed again, this time slower. The passenger window rolled down slightly. Apollo's ears flattened. His body didn't move, but everything about him changed. Martha and Frank instinctively stepped closer to the stand. "Those cookies look delicious, Charlotte," Martha said, watching the vehicle out the corner of her eye. "I'll take the whole batch," Charlotte beamed. "Really? That's amazing." She bent under the stand to grab the cookie container. That's when Apollo moved, silent, smooth, and suddenly standing between Charlotte and the street, his posture low, ready, watching. The SUV rolled slowly past. Then, a patrol car turned onto the street. Officer Lucia Morales. The SUV peeled away. Apollo's body relaxed, just slightly. His eyes, still locked on the corner where it vanished. "Morning, folks," Lucia called out as she parked. "Looks like business is booming." This time, Apollo wagged his tail with genuine relief. He knew her. Charlotte lit up. "Officer Morales, want some lemonade? Mrs. Stevens says it's our best batch yet." The tension in the adult's posture hadn't gone unnoticed, not by Apollo, and certainly not by Officer Lucia Morales. "How long have you been out here today?" she asked, crouching beside the lemonade stand. "Since 9, Charlotte answered proudly. "Apollo's been helping me count the money." She pointed to her small cash box like it was a treasure chest. Lucia smiled and scratched behind Apollo's ears, her voice low as she whispered, "Anything to report, old friend?" Apollo let out a faint whine, subtle, but loaded with meaning. Lucia had heard enough dogs on duty to know he was on high alert. She straightened up, keeping her friendly tone. "You know what? I think I'll take my break right here today. Mind if I hang out for a bit?" "That would be awesome," Charlotte beamed. "You can help me sell lemonade." The shift in energy was immediate. Martha and Frank, who had been lingering nearby, visibly relaxed. But they didn't leave. Instead, they made light conversation, talking about the weather, all while keeping one eye on the street. Charlotte chatted happily about saving up for a new bike, completely unaware that Apollo, now on all fours, stood like a quiet sentinel between her and the road. The black SUV in the distance had just turned around again. And this time, it stopped. Two men stepped out. Their walk was too smooth, too measured. Apollo's frame tensed, still calm on the outside, but Lucia caught it. Her hand drifted near her hip. "Can I help you, gentlemen?" she asked, voice steady. "Just getting some lemonade," said the taller man, his accent thick. His partner didn't say a word, just scanned the area with sharp, practiced eyes. "It's fresh squeezed," Charlotte chirped. "Would you like regular or mint?" The silent man took a step closer. Apollo shifted with him, placing his body between the strangers and Charlotte like it was nothing. But Lucia saw it for what it was, pure tactical positioning. "Mint," the first man said, reaching for his wallet. His sleeve slid up, revealing a tattoo. Just a sliver, but enough. A shadow with teeth. La Sombra Negra. Frank Cooper stepped out from the hardware store just then, holding a small box. "Charlotte, those hinges you ordered came in. Want me to take them to your dad?" The men froze. "Your father works in hardware?" the tall one asked. Charlotte didn't hesitate. "My daddy's a police captain. He's retired now, but Apollo used to work with him. Right, Apollo?" Apollo's tail gave a friendly wag, but his eyes never left the silent man who had subtly shifted position again. Apollo mirrored him, guarding every inch. "A police dog," the taller man muttered, the smile on his face beginning to slip. Just then, Martha reappeared from her porch. "Charlotte, dear, would you mind helping me carry in the rest of those cookies? My arthritis is being stubborn again." "Of course, Mrs. Stevens," Charlotte turned to the men, cheerful. "I'll be right back. Apollo, watch the stand." Apollo didn't move a muscle. His eyes were locked in. The moment Charlotte was out of earshot, the atmosphere shifted. "Nice operation you've got here," the silent man finally said. His voice was ice. "Shame if anything happened to it." Lucia stepped forward. "Was that a threat?" "Just an observation." The taller man smiled again, the kind that never reaches the eyes. "Lot of traffic out here. Accidents happen." Apollo's low growl rumbled in his chest. Barely audible, but primal enough to make the silent man step back, his hand twitching toward his jacket. Apollo's ears pinned back. It was a warning, and they both knew it. Then, another voice cut through the tension. "Everything okay here?" Captain Michael Davis, Charlotte's father. Calm stride, sharp eyes. "Just leaving," the tall man said. "Lemonade's not cold enough." They turned and walked back to the SUV, but the silent man glanced over his shoulder one last time, and Apollo didn't look away until the car disappeared. "You saw the tattoo?" Michael asked quietly. Lucia nodded. "La Sombra Negra. They're getting bold." Frank joined them, speaking low. "That's the third local business they've visited this week. Mart family shut down their grocery store yesterday. Said they were going on vacation." Michael's jaw tightened. "Charlotte's not running that stand again. It's not safe." "If we pull the plug now," Lucia countered, "they'll know we're on to them. But if they keep underestimating us..." "I'm not using my daughter as bait." "We're not, but we can use their assumptions against them. To them, it's just a lemonade stand. And Apollo? Just some retired old dog living the quiet life." Right then, Charlotte came skipping back. "The cookies were heavy, so I helped Mrs. Stevens put them away." Michael knelt and gave her a hug. "You having a good sales day, sweetheart?" "The best. But those guys didn't buy anything. Apollo didn't like them." "He's a good judge of character," Lucia said, glancing at Apollo. Frank checked his watch. "Almost lunchtime. Charlotte, how about we help you pack up a little early today?" "But my alarm hasn't gone off yet." "I'll make you a deal," Michael offered. "Pack up now, and tomorrow we'll build a bigger stand. Maybe add some chairs for your customers." "Really? Can we hang fairy lights too?" "Absolutely. And maybe Officer Morales will help us decorate?" Lucia smiled. "I'd be honored." Though Charlotte's eyes were on the lemonade, Lucia's were still scanning the street. I could bring some special decorations tomorrow, she said casually. What Charlotte didn't know was that those decorations would include discreet surveillance cameras and high-grade monitoring gear. As they packed up the stand for the day, Michael and Lucia exchanged a silent look, a quiet agreement. The cartel had made its first move, but they had no idea what or who they'd just provoked. That night, with Charlotte asleep upstairs, Michael sat in his home office surrounded by old case files. Apollo lay at his feet, eyes sharp despite the late hour. "What do you think, old friend?" Michael murmured, scratching behind the dog's ears. "One last mission?" Apollo's tail thumped against the hardwood floor in steady rhythm. Outside, the black SUV passed by again, this time with its headlights off. Apollo's ears perked up. He didn't move, but his body was ready. Michael's phone buzzed, a message from Lucia. 3 more businesses threatened today. DEA wants a meeting. He texted back. Time to set the trap. They won't expect it from a lemonade stand. Meanwhile, in her patrol car, Lucia watched the SUV circle the neighborhood. She scribbled notes in her notebook, tracking its times, turns, speed, building a profile of the cartel's surveillance routes. But tomorrow, everything would change. Tomorrow they would be the ones doing the watching. La Sombra Negra thought they were running a basic intimidation campaign in a sleepy Texas town. They didn't know they'd just activated a veteran task force. And it all started because they overlooked the one detail that would cost them everything. The German shepherd guarding the lemonade stand wasn't just a pet. If this story hits you like it hit us, go ahead and subscribe. It really helps us keep going. Now, let's keep it moving. The next morning, as dawn stretched across Pine Creek, DEA agent Claire Bennett stood in Michael Davis's dining room, studying a large map spread across the table. Red pins dotted the town, everyone marking a business that had reported threats in the last week. "Your daughter's lemonade stand is dead center in their route," Claire noted, tracing a path with her finger. "They're watching police patterns, measuring response times, and systematically clearing out the street." Lucia added, "The Martinez grocery store had full street view security. They shut down 2 days ago." Michael leaned back, absent-mindedly running his hand over Apollo's head. "They're building a blind spot. But why here?" Claire didn't hesitate. "Because this neighborhood is perfect. Quiet, residential, almost no traffic. If they scare away the locals and force out the businesses, it becomes the ideal corridor for product movement." Patricia entered the room with a tray of coffee. Her face was tight with worry. "Charlotte's still asking why all her friends' families are leaving." Claire looked up. "We need to move smart. La Sombra Negra isn't like the others. They don't rush, they embed. They build routes before they strike." Suddenly, Apollo's head lifted, alert. Seconds later, the rumble of an engine echoed outside. "4th drive-by this morning," Lucia said, checking her watch. Patricia peeked through the curtain. "Some of these cars, I've seen them parked outside Charlotte's school." Michael's voice hardened. "They're not hiding it. They want us to know they're watching." "Then let's give them something to watch," Claire replied, setting a slim black briefcase on the table. She opened it to reveal what looked like fairy lights, but inside each bulb was a micro camera. They're high-resolution, discreet, and perfect for a lemonade stand. Outside, Charlotte's voice drifted through the window. "Apollo, look! Mrs. Stevens is putting up her closed sign." The adults froze. Martha's antique shop had just become the 5th business to shut down. Patricia moved toward the door. "I'm going out there." Michael stopped her gently. "Wait. Look at Apollo." The shepherd had moved near Charlotte, but he was calm, ears neutral, body language relaxed, no threat detected. Lucia smiled. 8 years on the force, and he's still sharper than half the rookies. Claire studied the dog with growing respect. "I heard about Operation River Shadow. That was your unit, right?" Michael nodded. "Apollo made that bust. Picked up on the cartel's chemical markers led us to their entire processing site." He looked out the window at Charlotte, who was now carefully lining up cups again. "Now he's got a new mission." Claire opened her laptop. "Our intel says this isn't just a smuggling route. They're setting up a hub, a major distribution node, right here in Pine Creek." Patricia's voice cracked. This is a family town. Exactly why they chose it, Claire said. No one would suspect it. She pulled up satellite images on her screen. See these new deliveries, business closings, new stores with no traffic? It's classic cartel behavior. They're setting up fronts. Like that new furniture shop downtown. Lucia blinked. They opened last month. I've never seen a single customer. Just then, Apollo growled. Low, warning. Every head turned toward the window. The black SUV was back, slower than ever. Charlotte, sweetie, Patricia called out. Time to put up those decorations we talked about. Already? Charlotte replied. But I just started selling. The sooner we put them up, the prettier everything will look, Patricia said, stepping outside to help. Claire quickly unpacked her gear. Michael, we'll need to position these carefully. They can't look suspicious. Michael nodded. I've got it. Lucia grabbed a bundle of the light strands. I helped run the town festival last year. No one questions the community liaison putting up decorations. The black SUV cruised by again, slower this time, its windows rolling down just a crack. They're getting bolder, Michael noted, eyes narrowing. Claire's expression darkened. No, they're getting ready. In my experience, this level of surveillance means they're in the final phase. Whatever they're planning, it's coming soon. Outside, Charlotte was beaming, helping Patricia and Lucia hang strands of twinkling fairy lights, completely unaware of the real purpose behind them. Apollo lay nearby, seemingly uninterested, but his ears tracked every engine, every car door, every whisper of tire against pavement. Look at that, Claire pointed. Your dog's got better situational awareness than some of my field agents, Michael chuckled. He catalogs engine sounds. He never forgets a vehicle. Part of his border patrol training? Must have been hard to retire him. Harder to keep him retired. I still catch him doing perimeter checks at night. A red pickup truck turned onto the street, one they hadn't seen before. Apollo's ears flicked, and his body subtly shifted closer to Charlotte. That's Victor Ruiz, Claire said quietly. Local cartel leader. He never shows up unless it's game time. Michael pulled out his phone. Then let's call in a few old favors. If they want to play intimidation, they should remember something. What's that? In Pine Creek, we protect our own, especially little girls with lemonade stands. Almost on cue, Frank Cooper stepped out of his hardware store. A second later, Tom Wilson emerged from his diner. Then came a few more shopkeepers, all going about their usual morning routines. But now, each was positioned with a clear sightline to Charlotte's stand. Look, Daddy! Charlotte called out. The lights look magical. They did. Twinkling softly in the morning sun, they looked like nothing more than childhood whimsy. But they were watching everything, and La Sombra Negra had no idea. Detective Tom Wilson adjusted the lens on his concealed camera. From across the street, he zoomed in on the red pickup as it came to a stop opposite the stand. Target approaching, he murmured into his earpiece. Apollo's got eyes on him. Ruiz stepped out, straightening his expensive jacket, flanked by two men whose posture and eyes screamed military. Apollo's tail wagged gently, playing the part, but his body shifted. Quiet, controlled, and always between Charlotte and the approaching men. Good morning, Charlotte smiled. Would you like some lemonade? We've got fresh mint today. Ruiz returned the smile, but his eyes stayed cold. What a lovely little setup you have here. Did your father help you build it? Yes, sir. He's really good at building things. He used to make training courses for police dogs. One of Ruiz's men touched his earpiece, murmuring something in Spanish. Apollo's ears twitched, picking up every word. Interesting neighborhood, Ruiz said, glancing around. Though I've noticed quite a few businesses shutting down. Sad times. Charlotte's smile faded slightly. My friend Rose's family left last week. They said it was for vacation, but they didn't say when they'd be back. Just then, Patricia stepped out of the house, her voice perfectly timed. Charlotte, remember what we talked about? No long conversations with strangers? But Mama, they're customers. Why don't you go help Mrs. Stevens with her new wind chimes, sweetie? She could use a hand. Charlotte hesitated. What about the stand? Apollo will watch it for you. Won't you, boy? The shepherd wagged his tail once, acknowledging the command. Charlotte skipped off, and just like that, the energy shifted. Ruiz raised an eyebrow. Protective mother. Patricia's eyes didn't waver. Always have been. Pine Creek takes care of its own. Ruiz tilted his head. Times change, Senora. Smart people adapt, like your neighbors. Apollo shifted again, subtle. But down the block, Charlotte bent to pick up a fallen wind chime, unaware of a silver sedan rolling toward her a little too fast. Before anyone else even reacted, Apollo was gone. 1 second by the stand, the next by her side, his body nudging her gently but firmly back to the sidewalk, just as the sedan swerved by. "Were you worried about me?" Charlotte giggled, hugging him. "I'm okay." But Apollo's eyes stayed on the sedan. The car had pulled up beside Ruiz's truck, and Apollo had caught something. A scent. Chemicals. Faint but familiar. From his K9 days. In his makeshift command post, Tom zoomed in on the plate. "Got it," he whispered into his mic. "Running the number now." Patricia's phone buzzed, a text from Michael. "Keep them talking. Claire's team is tracking the sedan." "Your dog seems well-trained," Ruiz commented. His voice was casual, but his eyes were measuring. Patricia shrugged. "Just a family pet. He's great with kids." Ruiz's smile returned, hollow and cold. "My organization's looking to invest in local businesses. Security, if you will. Your daughter's operation shows promise." "That's generous," Patricia said lightly. "But we're doing fine." Ruiz's eyes narrowed just a bit. "Insurance, then. You know, accidents happen, like that sedan. Children should be protected." Apollo's growl was low, too quiet for Charlotte to hear. But Ruiz's men froze. They knew that sound. "Is that a threat?" Patricia asked, her tone even. "Just an observation," Ruiz replied. He placed a business card on the stand. "For the child's sake, think about it." He turned and walked back to his truck. His men followed. As the vehicles pulled away, Frank Cooper appeared again, casually sweeping the sidewalk in front of his store. "Everything okay?" he called out. Patricia didn't look away from the road. "Fine." She picked up the business card with a tissue, carefully preserving every fingerprint. Just as they were discussing potential new business opportunities, the silver sedan pulled away, closely followed by Ruiz's truck. Neither vehicle noticed the unmarked police car discreetly tailing the sedan, or the traffic cameras that logged their return to the scene in a surveillance van. In the control room, Tom Wilson worked with DEA agent Claire Bennett as they confirmed. The sedan matched a vehicle previously linked to cross-border chemical shipments. "They're using the furniture store as a front," Tom reported. "Keep monitoring." Claire's voice crackled through the earpiece. "We need to know their entire network before we move." At the lemonade stand, Charlotte returned carrying a wind chime. "Mama, can we hang this up too?" Mrs. Stevens asked, insisting it would ward off bad spirits. "Of course, sweetie," Patricia replied as she helped hang it, while always keeping one watchful eye on Apollo. The German shepherd's nose twitched, still tracking that telltale chemical scent. Later that evening, Michael reviewed the surveillance footage with Claire and Tom. "They're getting aggressive," he said. Claire pointed at the timestamps. "It was a test. They wanted to see how fast Apollo would react. They're beginning to suspect that he's more than just a family pet." "Should we pull back?" Tom interjected. "Our whole operation depends on keeping this route clear. If the stand shuts down, we'll know they're onto us." Claire finished. "We need to keep playing their game, but it's time to change the rules." Michael's phone buzzed. Lucia had just finished canvassing the neighborhood. Every remaining business had received similar protection offers. A pattern was emerging, with Charlotte's lemonade stand unwittingly forming the centerpiece of La Sombra Negra's meticulously planned operation. "They'll try something bigger next," Claire warned. Outside, Michael peered through the window as Apollo performed his evening perimeter check of the yard, his every precise movement honed by years of training. "Oh, we'll be ready," Michael murmured. "They have no idea what they're dealing with." In another part of town, Marco El Tigre Hernandez slammed his fist on the back office desk of the hardware store. "A little girl's lemonade stand is holding us up?" he growled. Ramon Delgado corrected him sharply. "That's no ordinary German shepherd. Did you see how it moved?" "Doesn't matter if it's Rin Tin Tin," Marco snarled. "Ruiz wants this route cleared today, no matter what." Meanwhile, Charlotte was having the best sales day ever. The community's support had poured in, customers streaming in left and right. "That's 25 sales before noon," Charlotte beamed at Officer Morales. Lucia smiled warmly. "You're becoming quite the businesswoman." As if on cue, the black sedan made its third pass of the morning. Apollo tracked it intently, though his tail still wagged casually. Just then, Frank Cooper emerged from his store carrying a box for Charlotte, a special delivery of new cup holders. "On the house, really," Charlotte chirped. Frank quietly adjusted one of Claire's hidden cameras for optimal coverage, ensuring the DEA's surveillance network was fully operational, all cleverly disguised as innocent decorations. "Ice delivery," called Tom Wilson from his diner as he wheeled out a cooler. "Can't sell lemonade without ice." The town's support was unmistakable. It was a clear message that Pine Creek was standing its ground. But then, Apollo's ears suddenly perked up. 3 vehicles converged simultaneously from different directions: the black SUV, the silver sedan, and a new red truck. They parked, effectively boxing in the lemonade stand. "Charlotte, Lucia," one of them remarked calmly. "I think Mrs. Stevens was asking if we needed more cookies. Why don't you go check on her?" "But we've got customers coming," Lucia replied. "I'll watch the stand for you." Apollo's posture shifted ever so slightly, a change only trained eyes could spot. His tail continued its gentle wag, but his weight moved forward, primed for action. Marco Hernandez stepped out of the red truck, flanked by 4 men. From the SUV, Ramon Delgado and 3 other cartel members emerged, while the sedan's driver stayed inside. Marco's voice was mocking as he nodded to Lucia. "Quite the security detail for a lemonade stand. Just enjoying a break, I see." Lucia's hand hovered near her holster as Ramon stepped forward and spread cash out on the stand. "Wouldn't want it to spill now, would we?" Apollo's low growl was almost imperceptible, yet it made the closest cartel members take a step back. "Everything okay here?" Frank Cooper called out from his store entrance. Tom Wilson appeared at the diner door, and soon other shopkeepers gathered, their phones recording every moment. Marco smiled coldly. "Unless that's forbidden around here." Suddenly, one of the men from the SUV deliberately knocked over the new cup holder, causing lemonade to splash across the stand. In a split-second reaction, Apollo moved like lightning, placing himself squarely between the threat and the stand. His friendly demeanor vanished, replaced by the unmistakable presence of a trained K-9 officer. "Don't push your luck," Lucia warned in a measured tone, just as another cartel member reached into his jacket. "What? Are you saying you'll arrest us for spilling lemonade?" Marco challenged, his voice low. Before anyone could respond, Michael Davis emerged from behind the red truck, quietly snapping photos of their license plates. "The DEA might be interested in what's in your vehicles," he said calmly. At that moment, Officer Claire Bennett stepped out from Tom Wilson's diner, badge visible, especially that of the sedan, which matched descriptions from 3 cross-border incidents. Marco's face darkened. "You're making a mistake. This is just a business matter." Claire held up her phone and played the surveillance footage, leaving no doubt. A cartel's operation is disrupted by the most unlikely obstacle: a little girl's lemonade stand and her retired K-9 partner, Apollo. When DEA surveillance detects chemical traces near Charlotte's stand, it becomes clear the cartel is using a nearby furniture store as a front for trafficking. As Apollo's behavior shifts, cartel members begin to suspect he's not just a pet. The DEA, with full community support, uses the lemonade stand as an observation post, catching cartel members off guard. Attempts to intimidate businesses fail. Surveillance shows the cartel adapting, sending vehicles to test law enforcement response. When a fake police car and an ice cream truck packed with surveillance gear show up, Apollo exposes them. The stand's relocation to the police station strengthens defense. Cartel leadership panics, sending high-level operatives to Pine Creek. With every move, they reveal more: tunnels, storage sites, kill lists. Apollo's years of Border Patrol training help detect threats before tech does. His quiet protection of Charlotte becomes the core of the town's defense. Eventually, federal agents move in. Every cartel property is seized. Communities across the country begin adopting Pine Creek's model: organized resistance, civilian networks, and canine units like Apollo. The cartel underestimated a town's unity, a child's stand, and a dog trained to guard more than just borders. He protected hope. Charlotte never fully realized her lemonade stand had sparked an international takedown, but her innocent determination and Apollo's loyalty became symbols. In the end, the cartel's greatest mistake wasn't a breach in security. It was threatening the wrong lemonade stand.